KYC, short for Know Your Customer, has been slowly taking over the cryptocurrency space. It's becoming significantly more difficult for somebody to buy cryptocurrency without giving up their personal information. Know Your Customer is basically the process of identifying and verifying the identity of a client. So common ways to do this is by asking a name, the birth date, or a copy of a government-issued ID. The supposed reason for this is the prevention of criminal activity like money laundering. But is it really a good idea to give away our privacy like that? So why do I think that privacy is important? Well, first of all, it's a qualified human right. And most of the times when I mention privacy to people, they say they don't really care about it because they have nothing to hide. Well, there's all sorts of examples that illustrate the importance of privacy, like why else would you close your curtains at night? But in reality, that sentence saying that you don't care about it because you have nothing to hide implies that there are two kinds of people, good people and bad people. Your definition of bad can be something like violent criminals, bank robbers, thieves, or whatever. But the definition of bad for the people in power, or like government, for example, can be something completely different. Their definition of a bad person could be somebody who questions their authority. Basically, privacy isn't about hiding something, it's about protecting something. People who are in a bad position, who don't have access to banking services or money in general, were given an opportunity with Bitcoin. I'm thinking about farmers who live in a country that was torn apart by war, people who don't have access to banking services, people who don't have access to a government-issued ID, victims of hyperinflation, and so on. The more regulations that get pushed on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, the further we stray from the original ID, and the more difficult it will become for people like this to have access to money. Bitcoin is often seen as an anonymous payment network, but in reality, the way Bitcoin works is actually quite transparent. All the transactions that were ever made are public, traceable, and permanently stored on the blockchain. So how can you protect your identity while using Bitcoin? Well, in order to send and receive Bitcoin, you will need to create a digital wallet. You can compare this to your bank account, which you give to friends if they need to give you money. And the thing about this wallet address, if we look on the blockchain and we check a transaction, we can see a from address and an amount and a to address, but we don't know who that address belongs to. So as long as you don't link your identity to your wallet, nobody will know that's you. So once you've created your wallet, you will now be able to send and receive Bitcoin. So imagine that you would want to buy some Bitcoin. Well, the most common way to do this is by going to one of the major exchanges and buy Bitcoin through them. But in order to use the services of one of these major exchanges, you will have to go through a KYC process first. This can involve giving your name, address, and sometimes even a copy of a government-issued ID. This is an alleged attempt to prevent criminal behavior like money laundering, but of course it carries some risks with it. A big risk could be data breaches. If a hacker manages to get access to one of these exchanges' database, he could easily obtain all your personal information. Another risk is that people who are in a difficult situation and who not necessarily have all the required documents are being denied access to cryptocurrency. Another big risk has to do with how the blockchain works. I've told you before that we can check the blockchain and see all the transactions that ever happened with every Bitcoin. So imagine that you bought one Bitcoin through an exchange and your identity is now linked to that Bitcoin. So now imagine that way up the chain, let's say 1 year ago, that Bitcoin was used in a criminal activity. If the police comes across that transaction that happened in the past, the one with the criminal activity, they can follow that Bitcoin all the way up the chain and come across you. And this will be reason enough for them to demand all your personal information from that exchange. And probably that exchange will just give it to them. On top of that, in some countries, this might be reason enough to issue a search warrant or to even spy on you. So needless to say, this is a privacy disaster that can lead to dire consequences. These are just a couple of reasons why I think privacy is so important. And that's why today I'm going to show you how you can buy cryptocurrency KYC free. Luckily for us, there's a website that lists exchanges that don't require a KYC process. It's called kycnot.me. The exchange that we will be using today is HODL. It's a peer-to-peer Bitcoin trading platform that allows users to trade directly with each other. So how does HODL work? Well, the first step you take is creating an account. The only requirement for this is a working email address. Once you've created your account and you've verified it through mail, you can start buying Bitcoin. In the top left part of the website, you can see the option to buy Bitcoin. Once you've clicked on that, you arrive on this page where you see all the potential offers. There's also this filter with payment methods, and as you can see, there's a lot. You can do bank transfers, credit cards, PayPal, Venmo, Western Union, gift cards, cryptocurrency, and the list goes on. There's also the option to create an offer. So when you create an offer, it's possible to announce to potential sellers that you're willing to buy Bitcoin at a specific price. It's also possible to follow an exchange rate. In this example, I've selected Binance, and it's possible to specify how much more you want to pay than the market price. One thing that immediately caught my eye when you're using a peer-to-peer platform like this is that the prices in general are a little bit more expensive. So you have to look around a little bit in order to find market price Bitcoin, or maybe find something like 1 or 2% more expensive. What's important to me is that we have the choice. Everybody can choose what kind of Bitcoin they buy, be it on an exchange that requires you to go through a KYC process. It's just important to me that the option to buy it KYC free is there. Then it's up to you, the user, to decide how important privacy is for you. So anyway, back to HODL HODL. Imagine that you found a good deal. How would it work exactly? Basically, everything you need to know is explained in the following paragraph. So, when you found a seller and you try to buy from him, a contract will be created between the two parties. So HODL HODL will generate a multi-sig escrow Bitcoin address. The seller will then send his Bitcoin from his wallet to this account created by HODL HODL. And when the Bitcoin is locked in escrow, the buyer sends fiat to the seller. The seller then releases the locked Bitcoin from escrow using his payment password, and the buyer receives them into his wallet. So what does that mean? Well, HODL HODL will create a locked Bitcoin address. The seller will send his Bitcoin to that address. Then we wait until the buyer sends money to the seller. Once the seller has received that money, he will unlock the Bitcoin that is in that locked account, and then the buyer will instantly receive the Bitcoin he tried to buy. You might wonder what they mean with a multi-sig escrow account. Well, basically this is just a regular Bitcoin address, but it is locked, so you need at least 2 keys to open this. In the case of this trade, there will be 3 keys. The seller has a key, the buyer has a key, and HODL HODL has a key. This ensures that only when an agreement is reached that the locked funds will be unlocked. In case that there's a dispute, so imagine that the seller has received money from the buyer and he doesn't unlock the Bitcoin. It's locked in there. Well, in that case, the buyer would file a dispute and he would contact HODL HODL. If he can prove what happened and the support manager from HODL HODL approves everything, then that manager can use his key together with the key of the buyer, and they can unlock the Bitcoin that's in the locked address. So that's in a nutshell how you can buy Bitcoin KYC free using a peer-to-peer platform. There's multiple platforms out there, and another noteworthy one is Bisq. Bisq is a decentralized exchange that uses a peer-to-peer network to buy and sell crypto. The reason that I used HODL HODL as an example is because it's so simple. Bisq is also relatively simple, but it requires you to download a client. So that's why I've chosen the most simplistic method to use as an illustration. So now you know why privacy is important and how you can buy KYC-free Bitcoin. The only thing that you still need is a decent wallet. There's multiple wallets out there, but one that I really like is the Samurai wallet. The Samurai wallet is described on their website as a modern Bitcoin wallet, hand-forged to keep your transactions private, your identity masked, and your funds secured. It's a wallet that you can use on your phone, and it's really simple to use. You just go to their website, click on the download page, and here you can download the Android APK, or you can even just download it through the Google Play Store. So one more question you might have is that if you already bought Bitcoin through a KYC platform, what do you do then? Well, basically there's 2 options you can take. The first one basically is that you get rid of all the Bitcoin that you bought through a KYC platform and you just start fresh. You buy new Bitcoin through non-KYC platforms. There's one thing to keep in mind with this method, and that is that in most countries, selling Bitcoin is a taxable event. So you gotta be careful that you don't lose too much money by doing this action. Again, it's up to you to decide how important privacy is for you. I can understand that this option isn't really attractive for everybody, and that brings me to option 2. You can basically just hold all the Bitcoin that you've bought through a KYC exchange and keep it in a certain wallet, then create a new wallet where you will store all the future Bitcoin that you will buy through a non-KYC exchange. So basically the second option is the separation of your Bitcoin. And I also have to add that there are some more advanced techniques like CoinJoin and using mixers, but these are a little bit outside of the scope of this video. I also have to add that the most secure way to interact with your Bitcoin is by creating your own node. This will allow you to verify your own transactions, and on top of that, use an air-gapped hardware wallet. But again, these options are a bit more for advanced users, but I just wanted to make you aware of the options that exist. So, and that brings us to our conclusion. I want to start by saying that I condemn criminal activity through Bitcoin. I even want to take it one step further and say that I condemn criminal activity in general. People will always find a way to abuse a technology or a system, be it by using cash, digital money, or even Bitcoin. It just can't become an excuse to take away our privacy. Bitcoin was created as a decentralized peer-to-peer way to send money, and thanks to the software, a lot of people were given opportunities. A good example for the need of easy access to cryptocurrency would be the situation in Somalia. A couple of years ago, the UK decided not to allow bank remittances services to Somalia anymore. People were sending money through this service, and once they weren't able to do this anymore, the country started to starve. 40% of their population, according to this article, were relying on this service for food and medicine. And that's where the beauty of Bitcoin comes in. It doesn't discriminate. Everybody that has the required hardware can set up a wallet and start using Bitcoin to send it worldwide. If we give up our right for privacy, we will kill innovation and keep poor people poor. Alright, so that was it for this video. I hope you guys understand why I think privacy is so important now and why I think Bitcoin should stay KYC free. Before I end the video, I want to give a shout out to Bitcoin Q&A. Be sure to check out their Twitter. They have some great information about Bitcoin and privacy. The following website that was created by them basically has all the information you would need to know about privacy and Bitcoin. I really hope that people found this video interesting and that the importance of privacy is a little bit more clear in general. I'm really curious to see what you guys think about cryptocurrency and privacy and the whole KYC situation. Please leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are on the subject. I also have a Discord server. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Here we talk about cryptocurrency and the stock market in general. We can also talk about privacy, of course. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and bye.